Hey everybody, it's Wellness Wednesday, and here we've got Shelby and Beth. Beth is standing in for Kelsey, and today we are taking a break from the month of May, which is Asthma and Allergy Awareness Month, to actually talk a little bit about Bike Week, which we're celebrating here at the health park. So I'm going to let Beth take over.
So yesterday you may have seen our Facebook Live where we featured our Blacklight cycling class. We're going to talk today about the importance of nutrition and fitness, and especially how it relates to cycling. Many of you guys might be riders, whether it's inside or if you get out and ride the streets of Owensboro and the Davis County. It is really important that you fuel yourself up before you go out for those rides. I always use the analogy, you wouldn't leave town on a vacation without putting gas in your car. The same thing holds true for our bodies. It is really important to fuel up before we go out and do activities. Specifically, biking is what we're talking about today. There's a lot of reasons that you want to do that. Eating fuels your body, it fuels your muscles. It helps prevent the chance of becoming hypoglycemic, which means your blood sugar getting low. And it just makes you feel better. There are studies that have been done that show that specifically they watched avid bikers, and those that ate breakfast were able to go for 126 minutes. Those that just had water went closer to 105 minutes for their long ride. So that's a big important key. There's kind of that myth that if you don't eat before you go on a bike ride or even on a run, you'll burn more calories. But actually the studies show that that's not necessarily true. It's really easy. Just like you train for a running event or a cycling event, you kind of got to train your body to know what it needs to eat. Best tips are some foods that have carbohydrates. It could be fruit, it could be cereal. Things like that you can eat, 30 minutes to an hour before that event. If it's in the morning, just have a small breakfast before you go. If it's in the afternoon, a good snack prior to the event is good. And always making sure you've got some carbohydrates, small amounts of protein, things that might not settle so well in your stomach, fried foods, high-fat foods, high-fiber foods. But again, train your body and work on things that might be a good source of fuel. Shelby has a great recipe that she's going to demo today, and I'm going to toss it back over to Shelby.
So today we're going to be making some really great and tasty blueberry muffins. These would be really great, Beth, if you wanted to go on a bike ride early in the morning. A lot of times we get up and we don't really want to put something on our stomach for fear that it'll make that bike ride kind of miserable. But this oatmeal muffin is not going to be too heavy, but it's got plenty of carbohydrates to keep you fueled. This is also nice because you could take it with you to work and have it right before you maybe went for a midday or after work ride. That way you've got something there that's going to give you the carbohydrate that you need. So let's get right into it without further ado. In a big bowl, so we're making muffins, so we're going to make our wet ingredients and our dry ingredients separate and then combine them at the end. So in a bigger bowl, I'm going to make my wet ingredients. The first thing I'm going to put in is the oats. This is just a cup of our regular old-fashioned oats. You could use quick cooking, but these old-fashioned were great. This is a cup of buttermilk. We actually didn't have buttermilk, so we made our own. We've got a cup of milk, and we added a teaspoon of either vinegar or you could add lemon juice is what we did, because I hate to buy buttermilk just for one recipe. Some canola oil going in, that's just 1/4 cup. An egg as well, just one. Break that yolk. And then this is just 1/4 cup of sugar. So this is a low sugar recipe. 1/4 cup for 12 muffins isn't too much. You could up this if you wanted it to be sweeter, but we really prefer before a big ride that we have something that's a little bit less sweet, a little more savory. This recipe is more savory. So we're just mixing this well, and if you had some time, you might have this sit out for about 5 to 10 minutes just so that wet ingredient starts to soak into the oats. So over here with Beth, we're going to mix our dry ingredients. This is where we put in a cup of flour. So we're going to put that flour in. These really work well together because you're not going to get like the chewy oats. They really start to combine the flour and the oats to make it this nice fluffy product. Next, I'm going to put in just a little bit of cinnamon for some added taste, some baking powder, some baking soda, and then some salt as well. That's important for that baking soda to activate. We're just going to mix this together until it's well combined. And then that's when we go into the wet ingredients. So it's important with your muffins, you don't want to overmix. If you overmix your muffin, they're not going to be that nice crumbly texture that you would expect. So we're just going to mix it until combined. Not too much, and you can see it's pretty easy to get it mixed in. Be nice and gentle with it. It's going to start to come together into more of a dough, but it's still going to be a loose kind of batter. There we go, starting to get nicely mixed in. You don't want any raw flour if you can help it. So you want everything to be combined. And that's all, guys. After this, I would just put it in my lined tins. I've got some back here. We're gonna cook these up. And they're gonna cook at a 400-degree oven, so that's pretty high, but they only cook for 15 to 20 minutes. Then you just wanna stick something in there, a toothpick, to make sure it comes out. And before I forget, we do need to add the berries before we put them in. So I'm adding just a cup of mixed berries. I used blueberries last night. Now you can use frozen or fresh. We're using frozen just because of the convenience. We had them already in our freezer. And that's it, guys. Throw them in the muffin tins, cook them for 15 to 20 minutes. These are only 135 calories and about 18 grams of carb, so you could have a couple of these before your ride. All right, well, thank you guys for tuning in. It's a really tasty recipe. We'll try this in a minute. Thank you guys for tuning in to Wellness Wednesday. Be sure to watch on Friday when Seth and Shiloh talk a little bit more about cycling, especially when we're actually thinking about, how are we going to get out there, cycling safety, all those good things on Fitness Friday. So we'll see you guys next Wellness Wednesday, your place to get well, one bite at a time.